Hello, my name is Seth Lewis. I'm currently an occupational therapy doctorate student at Washington University in St. Louis School of Medicine, and this is the impact summary for my capstone experience. So, just for some background on the motivation for this capstone, I'm part of a very sports-driven family. I joined my first competitive sports league when I was 3 years old and played 5 different sports through high school. I always found ways to tie sports and service throughout my life. I used my bar mitzvah project to pair with my local lacrosse organization to raise money for a freshwater well in Africa. I was heavily involved in the Top Soccer program, which used soccer and basketball to teach life skills and social skills to children with disabilities. And during my occupational therapy schooling, I became heavily involved as a wheelchair basketball coach, both in St. Louis and in Richmond, where my first Field War II opportunity was. For this capstone project and its goals, the ultimate goal was the development, implementation, and evaluation of a sports therapy program in outpatient pediatrics. For my professional goals, I looked to learn non-improvement skills that were required for program development. This included the marketing for a program, the recruitment for its participants, the creation of a curriculum with a step-by-step guide, and the assessment of feasibility. I wanted to pilot the program to practice clinical delivery and allow for this assessment of feasibility. I wanted to continue to improve clinic skills in a variety of pediatric settings and learn about the business considerations of a clinic and the daily role of a clinical director. To do this, I partnered with Skills on the Hill Pediatric Therapy. They have 2 clinics in the greater DC area with 26 clinicians made up of occupational therapists, speech therapists, and physical therapists, and 36 total team members. I had 4 learning objectives that were all going to combine to this ultimate goal of developing, piloting, and evaluating the feasibility of a sports therapy program. The first objective was to demonstrate the ability to develop a variety of sustainable programs with ranging therapeutic tools. This would not just be my sports therapy program, but any other program that might be beneficial to the Skills on the Hill community. The idea was to get as much practice with marketing and creating program manuals. The second objective was to demonstrate the ability to develop, pilot, and evaluate feasible and sustainable programming with sports as the primary therapeutic tool. So this would be that implementation of my sports therapy program and the subsequent analysis of its success. My third objective was to develop entry-level proficiency in pediatric clinic and school system skills. So this was done by attending the clinic at least once a week and helping with implementation of both individual therapy as well as overall large group programs that were not just my sports therapy programs, as well as attending the school system at least once a week to learn more about the implementation of treatment in the schools. Finally, my last objective was to increase the knowledge and understanding of the business considerations of a clinic. This is where I was very lucky that my mentor was the clinical director at Skills on the Hill. I was able to shadow her daily activities, including many of her meetings, as well as assist her in the recruitment and the marketing of our summer programs. This included interviews with families that were interested in our summer programs and screening them to ensure that their children were good fits for our program. In terms of the key deliverables for this capstone project, the first large deliverable was the program curriculums. This was for 3 different overall programs. The Social Sports Stars was my marquee sports therapy program, where we use sports as a therapeutic tool to improve social and emotional skills for our participants. The second was the Organization Station, a metacognitive-based executive functioning program. The first version of this program was a week-long course for 3 hours a day, where children would learn executive functioning skills through brain games and a STEM project. The second version of the Organization Station was a once-a-week course for 6 to 8 weeks, where they would again use brain games and a workbook to work on executive functioning skills, but parents would also participate in order to help improve the carryover to the home and the community. Finally, we had the Ready, Set, Go program, which was a functional community management program. This had also 2 different program types. The first would use a variety of different experiences just to practice these life skills, such as learning how to budget and then going to shop at a grocery store, or learning how to pre-order coffee and then go to the coffee shop and get that order. The second version was very similar, but all these community outings would stack upon each other into a final party that was basically planned by the participants. I was able to pilot implementation of the Social Sports Stars. This included marketing, the recruitment of participants, who ended up being 3 boys aged 8 to 9 with diagnoses of autism, anxiety, and ADHD. The program took course over 1 week for 3 hours per day and feasibility was determined through child surveys, caregiver surveys, and therapist interviews. Finally, I was able to have a variety of clinical and business experiences throughout the course of this capstone. I either treated or shadowed for over 220 hours over the course of both the clinic and school opportunities. I attended 21 administrative meetings. I performed 28 of those family screenings to ensure that they were good fits for our summer programs. Then I also had a reimbursement write-up to talk about funding for programs such as my own. So for the Sports Stars program itself, this is what each day looked like. There was a welcome with an introduction that wasn't necessarily sports themed. We had a sports themed obstacle course that fit our sport of the day and helped work on fine motor and gross motor integration, as well as getting excited about the overall day. We then had a social theme that was paired with a tabletop social lesson that was evidence-based. We had a social sports stars activity afterwards. And so this is where we would combine our sports theme and our social theme. So for instance, if the sports theme was volleyball and the social theme was sportsmanship and compliments, we would have our players come up with different social sportsmanship phrases and then play balloon volleyball, where after each point, each team would have to give at least one sportsmanship comment to the other. We would have snack and a social game, and then we would play animal sports, where we would play our sport of the day to work on that fine motor, gross motor integration, and also the overall teamwork aspect of sports. And any movements had to come from animal walks that were decided by the therapist or the participants. And then we would wrap up for the day. In terms of the program's overall impact, for the participants, there was an overall large positive response to the program theme. They all said that they had a lot of fun, which was the highest level for our survey that was given. Two of them said that the sports theme greatly improved their experience, and the third said that they loved the sports theme but would have had fun no matter what. They were all able to label social skill takeaways unpromptedly, with two labeling flexible thinking as their takeaway and one talking about emotional regulation strategies. They also all got fine motor, gross motor, coordination, core strength, and even executive functioning development over the course of the program. Families also reported high satisfaction and at least moderate social emotional improvement from their children, which was super exciting to hear after just a 1 week program and them completing the survey the following week. For staff, they were able to have fun, impactful programming, and they were provided step-by-step programmatic guides across a variety of skills. So not just my social skills program, but also the executive functioning program that we created, as well as the community management program. And they also had the easy to access materials to pair with these programs and potentially use in their individual interventions as well. Finally, from a clinic perspective, a flexible programming for a variety of social groups was created through the social sports groups. The beauty of this program is that you really can change the sport and the social lesson based on the needs of the group and can even ask your participants at the beginning of the week what sports they want to experience. There's an opportunity for a larger program size with this group because sports involve so many players at one time and everyone is constantly active. It allows for more participants to be having that good experience in the game and not just waiting on the sideline while still getting those physical and those social benefits. There was a sustainable model based on cost and caregiver response. So the other part about this program is that all the materials were ones that were found in a traditional occupational therapy clinic, and any that might have been a little more unique, such as a small basketball hoop, cost no more than $30 or $40. The caregivers also in their response said that they would sign up for a similar program again and recommend a similar program to other families. And so you have a model now at the specific clinic where they have all the materials necessary as well as a need from the community. And then finally, this program helped return the clinic to occupation-driven treatment. Sports is such a vital role in so many of our children that we treat, and so we always want to be using our occupations and our passions in order to drive the skill development. In terms of dissemination, I presented the results of the social stars to the entire Skills on the Hill team. This included background research and caregiver interviews, program structure and the goals of the social sports stars, the implementation process, its results, and then opportunities for sustainability in future implementation. I also allowed for public dispersion of the presentation. So the presentation was recorded and posted to YouTube, and it was tagged to support algorithmic dispersal. And the idea was to allow others who are interested in the connection between sports and occupational therapy to have a starting point, either to potentially running this program on their own, or just having inspiration to finding their own sports-based programs. Finally, there was public access to the curriculum manuals themselves. So the Skills on the Hill team has access to all three programs, the Social Sports Stars, the Ready, Set, Go, and the Organization Station, and that is on their private SharePoint. And then the Social Sports Stars curriculum was additionally attached to the YouTube description so that it can be used by the public. So finally, there are opportunities for direct and broad sustainability. The Social Sports Stars program and interventions will be integrated into the overall clinic practice. This is both through the overall program and also the clinicians expressing interest in using the specific interventions within their own individual sessions. The Organization Station Ready, Set, Go programs will also be run in the future. The Ready, Set, Go program has already been run once this summer with great success, and there are 2 more weeks that are being run this summer. The Organization Station will hopefully be run this fall at the clinic. The presentation and Social Sports Stars curriculum manual will steadily reach a larger audience as it grows on that YouTube platform. And the idea is that there will hopefully be an implementation at additional clinics and inspiration for further development of this program and the use of social sports as a therapeutic tool in general. But the idea with the sustainability was for an immediate impact to occur at the clinic and for there to be a slow, steady dispersal of the program to the overall occupational therapy community. I'd like to thank Washington St. Louis for giving me the opportunity to be a part of their OT program and Skills on the Hill for taking me in as a capstone student. Thank you so much.